Secondly, we need to hold on to a second truth before we go. There's only two destinations. One is an eternal place God calls heaven, and the other is a place of torment. Did you know that's a topic of a lot of these books? Do you know what most of these books, I'm not saying Burpo's because his dad is a Nazarene pastor that knows the truth. But most of these books present Satan, the angel of light, embracing people when they are in plane crashes and everything, and these are total heathen, godless, deniers of Christ, but they all go to the same place, and there's this big, warm, bright figure. They think it's Jesus, and he embraces them in the light, and they hear sounds, and they see colors, and it's so warm and wonderful. Now listen, beware of Satan's lies that all religious roads lead to heaven. Now the one I'm telling you about, this little boy book, that's the current hot seller. Do you know what the hot seller was 10 years ago? 10 years ago it was called Embraced by the Light by a Christian named Betty J. Eady. Came out in October of 2002, a decade ago. And you know what Betty Eady said in this book? By the way, she spoke in churches coast to coast. And after finally a few churches checked her credentials, they found out she's not a born-again Christian. She said she was. She was a Mormon member and a false prophet that the Mormon church didn't even fully accept because she was so far into the New Age, into Hinduism. But churches, because of her story, woven into her tale are robed spirit guide monks, a light that warmed her soul. She met Jesus Christ, the one who was crucified, and he told her these doctrines. Number one, humans pre-existed as spirits before they were born into this world. This pre-existence of human spirit is central to Mormon doctrine and most false cults. And Betty Eady said, all people as spirits in the pre-mortal world took part in the creation of the earth. Really? You know what God says in Genesis 2:7? God scooped up dirt, fashioned Adam into the shape of a man, and it says he breathed into him the breath of life, and it says in Genesis 2:7, Adam became a living soul. Adam didn't pre-exist. God didn't say, all right, send another one down, I've got a body ready. Can you imagine this pool of souls that he's bringing down? But Jesus told Betty Eady that. She also learned that there are multiple gods in heaven. This denial of the Trinity is central to Mormonism as well as the rest of false religion. Betty said, my Protestant upbringing taught me that the Father and Jesus were one being. But as she toured heaven, I understood to my surprise, Jesus is separate from God. Thirdly, she was taught humans can become gods. What did Satan tell Eve? You will become like God. See, the lie of the Garden of Eden from the devil has shown up in all myriads of new formatting of the same old lie. And she just brought it up again. She taught this in churches. And people went, wow, we can become gods? Oh. Wow. There's a man on television from Houston that says the same thing. Don't be negative. You have some God inside of you. Be all you can be. No, you're desperately evil and wicked, and the human heart is desperately deceptive. And only the Spirit of God within us is good. We are not. And anything good that's accomplished is through Him, not because we're little gods. God wants us to become as He is, and as He invested in His godlike qualities, no. He has put His Spirit to dwell in us, and He empowers us by His grace to accomplish, but we're not little gods. Here's another one that Jesus told her. There's a second chance at salvation after life. The New Age and most false religions all share the same form of universalism, that people get another chance. In fact, Betty Eady said there was this whole group of people that were up kicking and screaming. They did not want to go to heaven. They did not want anything to do with God. And all of a sudden, Jesus went and embraced them, and He held them close, and they warmed up, and finally some of them said, okay, I'll stay for a while. And eventually, she said, He got through to all of them, and they all were saved. Never confessing they were lost sinners, never believing that He redeemed them. And finally, here's one that's everywhere. It's in all the movies. The universe, she said, I found out in heaven the universe has two eternal forces or energies. They're positive and negative. This dualism has always been a part of Gnosticism. Did you know that was the first error in the church? That you can see John in 1 John writing against Gnosticism. You know what he said? He says, we have seen and handled Jesus Christ. We know he's real. The Gnostic says, no. Gnosticism is, you ever heard, there's another book, The Secret, that Christians bought. That's the essence of Gnosticism. There's this insider knowledge that only the initiated can tell you, so you can know it too. This gnosis, this knowledge. And what the gnosis is, it's part of Hinduism and Gnosticism and most science fiction. It's the force that's neither positive nor negative. If you just focus on the good side of that force, then you can use this positive energy to be healed. Hey, we're back to Christian television. Cast out the evil thoughts. Cast out the negative thoughts. Believe. It's just amazing how much all of this stuff, this positive energy that heals us, we can create our own destiny. We can speak into existence. Now I'm in the word faith movement we're going to talk about tonight. You speak your destiny. Amazing. Okay. Pantheism, mysticism, syncretism, we'll talk about that later. The foundational truths to guide us through life. Today we saw the first two. The only real heaven is the one God describes. All the other descriptions are inaccurate and not inspired. And worse than that, they disagree with the inspired one. And they shouldn't be bought, handed out to poor, helpless children and grandchildren, and burned into their minds. And secondly, there are only two destinations, and they're both permanent. One is an eternal place God calls heaven, and the other place is a conscious, endless torment called hell. And this morning you're going to one or the other. And that's what the gospel says.